Welcome to Breaking International News. Iran's missile attack causes major explosion in Israel. Major explosion near Microsoft office. Hell will descend if the U.S. joins the Israeli attack. Trump retains control of National Guard deployed in Los Angeles. Has Iran not yet used the most advanced missiles? Iran's missile attack causes major explosion in Israel. Tensions between Iran and Israel have escalated. Iran is retaliating with missiles one after another in Israel. This time, the Israeli army said that a rescue team was sent there after hearing a large explosion in the Israeli city of Beersheba. Al Jazeera reported. The report said that the sound of the explosion came from the vicinity of the building of a large technology company in Beersheba, although no casualties or damage were immediately confirmed. Citing military sources, Israeli authorities said that they were verifying the nature of the incident and that detailed information would be provided after the initial investigation. Earlier, a bombing at a hospital in Beersheba, Israel on Thursday received rapid and widespread international attention. 3 days earlier, a hospital in Kermanshah, Iran, was attacked, which was ignored by the international community. After the bombing of the Beersheba hospital, Israel said that the building was severely damaged. However, major casualties were avoided as patients were evacuated from a part of the hospital before the attack. On the other hand, Iranian state media claimed that their target was a military intelligence headquarters near the hospital. Major explosion near Microsoft office. A massive fire broke out near the Microsoft office in Beersheba, Israel, after an Iranian attack. CNN representatives reported this. On Friday, June 20th, the Israeli military said it had intercepted an Iranian missile. After that, Israeli emergency services began receiving calls reporting fires in Beersheba. Emergency workers immediately rushed to the scene. According to video released by the Israeli Emergency Services Agency Magen David Adom, fires can be seen burning in several places on a street in the southern city. The tech park and Microsoft office are located next to it. Israeli police said they had received reports of ammunition falling in open areas in the southern district of the country. This caused property damage, but there were no reports of casualties. Hell will descend if the U.S. joins the Israeli attack. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Saeed Khatibzadeh has warned that the situation could take a terrible turn if the U.S. gets directly involved in the ongoing Iran-Israel conflict in the Middle East. He said, U.S. participation in this war means hell descending on the entire region. He made this comment in a recent interview with the BBC. Khatibzadeh said, "This is not a U.S. war. If Trump gets involved in this war, he will go down in history as a president who got involved in a war that was not his." He said, the Iran-Israel conflict is already complicated. U.S. military involvement in it would mean adding fuel to the fire. In his opinion, this is not just a war, but will bring unrest and destruction to the entire region. Khatibzadeh warned, U.S. intervention will deepen and prolong the conflict. This will not stop the barbarity, but rather spread it further. Innocent people will suffer more. He also said, if this war takes a global form through the United States, it will not only pose a major threat to the security of the Middle East, but also of the world. Khatibzadeh's comments come at a time when President Donald Trump is taking his time to decide on possible military action against Iran. In addition, pressure from Israel to seek the United States side is also increasing. Trump retains control of National Guard deployed in Los Angeles. President Donald Trump deployed the National Guard to quell protests against the recent anti-illegal immigration crackdown in Los Angeles, California, U.S. At that time, California Governor Gavin Newsom appealed to the court, objecting to Trump's initiative. However, the country's appeals court ruled in favor of the Republican Party leader and former real estate businessman Trump. The court panel, consisting of 3 judges, said in a 38-page ruling that Trump failed to issue the decision to deploy the National Guard directly through the California governor. But this did not undermine the legal authority of the president to deploy the National Guard in any part of the United States if necessary. The judges unanimously wrote in the ruling, Trump's initiative to send 4,000 members of the National Guard to Los Angeles for 60 days to protect government officials and employees engaged in government work and to secure government assets is within his authority as president. After the court's decision, Trump expressed his excitement on social media Truth Social. He said, "This is a big victory." Trump said, "If the people of the United States need protection in cities, and in those cases, if for some reason the state and local police fail to provide it, then we will provide that protection, so that it works." Last week, a lower court judge ordered Trump to return control of the California National Guard to Democratic Party leader and Governor Newsom. He noted that the president's decision was unlawful. Newsom praised the lower court's decision, saying Trump is not an emperor or a king, and he should stop acting like this. Trump sent the National Guard and 700 U.S. Marines to Los Angeles, despite objections from local officials. He claimed that local authorities had lost control of the burning city. This was the first time since 1965 that the National Guard had been deployed to a state despite objections from the local governor. The New York Times reported that Trump appointed 2 of the 3 members of the final panel of judges. The other member of the Ninth Circuit panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals was appointed by former President Joe Biden. Has Iran not yet used the most advanced missiles? Iran's armed forces have recently launched multiple counter-missile attacks on Israeli targets. However, a report by Iran's Tasnim news agency claims that experts believe that Iran has not yet used its new generation or advanced missiles. The report says that Israel launched an aggressive war against Iran on June 13. They launched airstrikes on Iran's nuclear, military, and residential facilities. Many high-ranking military officials, nuclear scientists, and civilians were killed in this. Immediately after this incident, the Iranian military launched a counterattack. As of June 19, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, had launched 13 counter-missile attacks on Israel as part of Operation True Promise 3. Tasnim news agency says that military analysts have identified several features of the Iranian missile attacks that have rendered Israeli air defenses almost useless. These include Iran launching missile attacks both during the day and at night. Israel is failing to develop an organized defense strategy to determine the timing. Iran has used a variety of weapons, including ballistic missiles and suicide drones. Iran has used various and irregular tactics in its missile attacks, which Israel is unable to predict in advance. Iran is surprising Israel by simultaneously attacking different parts of the country. Iran has a huge database. It is possible to attack various targets, including Israeli military bases, oil refineries, and important infrastructure. In addition, Iran has not yet revealed many sophisticated long-range missiles, so surprises for Israel will continue to come one after another, Tasnim News reported. Iran's Qadr and Ahmad missiles belong to the same family. Both have a range of about 1,800 kilometers and can carry a warhead weighing about 750 kilograms, although not all of it is explosive. The Ahmad missile is believed to be more accurate than the Qadr. Both missiles were used during Operation True Promise in 2023. The Khyber Shakan is a new generation of Iranian solid-fuel missiles. Its range is relatively short, about 1,400 to 1,500 kilometers. As a result, it can only reach Israel if launched from western Iran. Although its warhead weighs 500 to 600 kilograms, its solid propulsion system gives it greater speed and precision. Iran has not yet used the Shaheed Hajj Qassem missile, which is named after the commander of the Quds Force, Qassem Soleimani, according to a report in the New Arab. It is a solid-fuel missile, and Iran calls it hypersonic because its speed is 5 times the speed of sound. However, Western analysts are reluctant to accept this hypersonic tag. They argue that it does not have the ability to move in 3 dimensions. The media report says that this missile has electro-optical guidance and a very high level of precision. Israeli researcher Yehoshua Kaliski claims that Iran probably launched at least one attack on the Israeli cities of Bat Yam and Rehovot with this missile on June 15. One of the targets was probably the Weizmann Institute of Science. However, the most discussed issue is that Iran has not yet used the Karamshar missile, known as the doomsday weapon in the language of the Israeli media. It is considered Iran's most powerful missile. Its warhead carrying capacity is up to 1,800 kilograms. Although it was unveiled in 2017, it has not been seen in use in any military operations so far.